So what is it we're doing differently this year for the challenge?
What are we doing differently? What we're doing differently is to make sure that in the hearts of everyone that they understand that this is a very big problem. And when I say this, I'm talking about cancer, and that the interventions that are required to address this in a very sustainable and impactful manner requires all hands to be on deck, and that it has to be a sustained effort. If you permit me, I think it's important to also set some context as to how this fits in. We don't just look at doing this event in a vacuum. And what I mean by that is that over the time that the exchange has been in existence since 1960, it's done several things in terms of CSR. But I think the very key turning point was about 6 years ago when we decided to change the tactics and make it a very strategic effort. As you might be aware of, we're a member of a number of global bodies, the United Global Compact, the Sustainable Stock Exchange Initiative, just to mention a few. That's also allowed us to understand from a best practice perspective how we should go about trying to be a good corporate citizen and lead by examples. And so I can speak to that.
All right. Well, I'd like you to speak to your strategy so far in dealing with sustainability.
So what we've done is that as part of this effort that I just described, kicked off about 6 years ago, is we established a CSR sustainability framework that has about 4 pillars. One is community, workplace, marketplace, and environment. And as you look through the different interventions that are within each of those pillars, they tie back to at least back in those days, was known as the MDGs. Now it's evolved into SDGs. And what we have decided to do is, instead of trying to tackle everything, to prioritize. So some things we've done in this space, so focusing on the marketplaces, ensuring that products and services that come out of the capital market, and specifically the exchange, follow the principles of being responsible and sustainable. There's a CGRS initiative that rolled out a few years ago that gives listed companies the guidelines for how, from a governance perspective, they should do right. More recently, we launched disclosure guidelines that, again, would apply to all the listed companies to provide a framework for how, for companies that certainly in their practice today do things not necessarily financial related, but do things to support the, what I'll say, the advancement in a positive way, of course, of ESG issues. It gives them guidelines on how to appropriately report for that. And we've been doing that at the exchange as well. If you permit me, again, drilling a little bit deeper, for community, we've done a number of things over the years as far as community efforts. From a financial literacy perspective, we've had several interventions. So we have an annual essay competition as well, publicized, that targets secondary school students. Back in 2017, in our effort to at least contribute to some effort at rehabilitating the Northeast, we work with the Borno State Government and Bridge International to build turnkey, a brand new model school that's focused on getting IDP students that are currently displaced into the school system. So we've done a number of things over the years, but it's also been very structured and certainly partner with other people in the market as well.
All right, so let's get into this corporate challenge this year, and starting. First, I'm going to ask first, why cancer? And then why the use of the race? There are other means you could have used as well, but why did you choose this format? Absolutely.
So some contextual data points to use here. So for cancer, I think I'll reference a recent study that was done by WHO. In 2018, it's about 113 reported cases, and out of that number, only about 100,000, actually about 100,000 deaths came about that. So it's a very horrible stat, if I could be blunt, in terms of the survival rate. And unfortunately, that trend has actually not gotten better, because if you look at the numbers in 2017, it was about 100,000, so it's increased a little bit. We picked cancer because it's almost impossible for any one of us, and I suspect you yourself included, not to know someone that's either been afflicted with it and possibly even died from it. So it's a #1 health issue, if you permit me, that we all have to face. And so we decided that it's a serious enough matter, but also we should try and bring it in a forum where the platform that we use to talk about it is one that also leads directly to promoting a healthy lifestyle. So we picked this corporate challenge race, which started back in 2013. Initially, just focused on bringing listed companies and dealing member firms together. But over the years, we've expanded it now to allowing other organizations, including government agencies, as well as individuals to participate. So as you pointed out, it's a 5-kilometer race or run, if you choose to. The only thing is you can't cheat and get an Okada to complete the race. To allow people to actually network, and also, obviously, during the course of the event, we'll talk about cancer, the different permutations that we see. And I think very importantly to educate people about the importance of taking those early measures to fix them. Because about 30 to 50% of the cancer cases from studies show that if they're detected early enough, they can be cured.
All right, so it's in the 6th year now, and then let's look at some of the achievements you kind of put under the belt in this period.
So I think it's always good to measure success and also take some learnings from anything that we do. So over the last 6 years, a few numbers that I'll share with you in terms of, again, tying back to the ultimate objective, which is to raise awareness and monies. On the money side, we've grossed about 150 million over the last 6 years in terms of donations and actual fees that people register with. Obviously, we have to net out the expenses that are related to conducting this event. From an awareness perspective, if you believe in the idea that the more impressions that you have on Twitter, it shows that people are paying attention and being aware. We have about 121 million impressions over this same period of time. And the last point is, even with all the issues that we've had a few years with weather, we've had close to about 3,000 people that have participated in this event, and certainly you were one of them in the last edition last year. We look forward to having you again.